Hi, my name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm a Cavoodle puppy coach and breeder for Noodle Way and River City Puppies. As a coach, my philosophy is simple. A Cavoodle should always complement your lifestyle, not complicate it. And this is the foundation to everything I teach. For almost the past decade, I have been working in the breeding, training, grooming, and veterinary sectors of the small animal industry. I've also been raising Cavoodles for the past 16 years, so I have definitely learned a thing or two about the breed along the way. Now this podcast is all about Cavoodles. Raising Cavoodles, training Cavoodles, grooming Cavoodles, breeding Cavoodles, and how to shape the behavior of a Cavoodle puppy. So if you're a Cavoodle parent or you are looking at adding a Cavoodle to your family soon, then this podcast is for you. New episodes will be released each Tuesday morning, and you can follow me across all social media under the name @OodleWay for more tips and advice on Cavoodles. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, welcome back to episode 20 of the Cavoodle Coach podcast rebooted. I can't believe we're at episode 20 already. It's gone so quick. Today, I want to talk about, I want to go a bit deeper, and I want to go a little bit back in time, and I want to talk about how my breeding and my grooming experience and my training has influenced my approach to raising a Cavoodle puppy and why I continue to do it. Because raising puppies, being in the breeding industry has its perks and it has its downfalls, and it's definitely not for the faint-hearted, but I still continue to do it because it does bring me so much, I guess, self-fulfillment, and just it does bring me a lot of joy. Now, let's go back a bit and let's talk about my journey, I guess, to where I am today with my approach to raising Cavoodles. I got my first Cavoodle back when I was 8 years old, which was 16 years ago. And if you can do math, you just worked out how old I am. And then we got Oscar when I was 8 years old. And obviously at 8 years old, I was a child and I had no experience raising dogs, training dogs. And to be honest, my mum was in charge of it all. The extent of the training that we did with Oscar was the 4 puppy school classes at our local vet clinic, except when we went, Mum had Oscar and he was too excited to see the other dogs to pay any attention at all with the training. And the only time Mum would train him was every night as she was cooking dinner, as she'd be cutting up, different meats and stuff. She'd just sit there in the kitchen and go through, your sit, your stay, your down, and all of that. And that was the extent of the training. And if you know me now and you listen to these podcasts, you'll know that is nowhere near enough for what Cavoodles need. There was absolutely no desensitization. There was no exposure to different sounds and different objects. There was no socialization involved because we couldn't take him on a walk until he had all these vaccinations, or he didn't leave the house until he had those vaccinations. We didn't know to still take him out and carry him or put him in a pram or put him in a crate. And let me tell you, with Oscar, he is the most beautiful boy, of course, but he came with his fair share of challenges. He spent weeks and weeks and weeks just howling and crying through the night. He did have lots of toileting accidents throughout the house, so his toilet training was not great. And he has suffered separation anxiety when we were young. So young kids, anytime we would leave the house, he would escape. He would literally vertically scale fences to get out. And the neighbors would find him, or people on the streets would find him and take him to the vet, and then they'd call us. So he suffered severe separation anxiety. He also suffered a lot of anxiety and stress over noises. So storms would freak him out. He would get so stressed and anxious that all that adrenaline would be turned into like ripping and chewing, and he just couldn't cope in those moments. And we had to, over the years, we'd had to put him on, medication to help him calm down for a storm. We've had him being so scared of noises that he would jump at everything you do. If you slightly knocked something, he would jump and run. And all of these things, we had no idea that we could put training and desensitization and exposure in place so that he wouldn't experience this. And even something as simple as going on a walk with him, his entire life, he would pull on the lead and try and jump towards everyone he saw. He's so friendly and he loves people, and he'd get so excited on a walk that, he'd just yank on the lead, and he was not a loose lead walker, and it would be hard to walk him because As a kid, I couldn't hold him because he'd be too strong, and it wasn't a very I guess easy experience. It wasn't simple to take him out. It was always work. And so that was my first experience with a Cavoodle. I was 8 years old and none of us knew about the training that they really needed, and more so the behavior training that they needed. And also the fact that he didn't come from a breeder, he came from a pet shop, which obviously I do not in any way endorse now. But back then, Cavoodles were pretty much an unknown breed, and the only way to get them would be through a very rare occurrence at a pet shop. So it was a completely different world back then to what it is today, but it also meant he wasn't raised properly within the breeder, especially compared to the breeding program that I do now with my puppies. So that was our first experience with having a Cavoodle. Now, I didn't get my next dog until I was 20, and that's when this business started, and it started off with Max and Nessie. Max is my toy poodle who I had myself for a few months until he was toilet trained, and then he went off to live with my grandparents. I got him for them. And then Nessie is my honest to God, my pride and joy. She is just amazing. But right before I got Nessie and Max, or I guess at the time of getting Max and Nessie, I had just done 4 years working in a vet clinic, and I learned a lot about the health of dogs and looking after them. But then I had also started working as a puppy school trainer at a behavioural organisation here in Brisbane, and I also was working in a grooming salon for dogs, a boutique grooming salon. And with that whole experience, I started to take a little bit more of, I guess, a holistic approach to raising Cavoodles. And I started to see how training isn't just your sit down and stay. Training is actually impulse control, emotional regulation, training your puppy to be exposed to new things while still having confidence, to limit that anxiety, to expose them to different people, places, sounds, but doing it positively so they make that positive association with it. I started learning all of these things about how what you do with your puppy in that first month can greatly shape how easy or hard they're going to be later in life. Even things like handling and practicing the handhold positions that a groomer is going to use. Not only does it mean they'll be able to go to the groomer easier, but if you decide to do your own grooming at home, it'll be easy and they'll stand still. And all these little things that you can add into your routine when you first get your puppy, that's really easy, takes 30 seconds a day, but makes a massive impact later down the track. So the grooming, the working at the grooming salon obviously taught me how to groom dogs and showed me what handling positions they need to be exposed to each day so that they are calm and relaxed getting groomed and not stressed and anxious and trying to jump around. The puppy school training organization obviously taught me how to train dogs. But then what really, I guess, changed my whole approach and sort of wrapped it all together is obviously my breeding. Now, I have had 8 litters of Cavoodles now. And through those 8 litters and through all of the amazing, wonderful feedback I've gotten from my litter families and just spending that time studying, courses on the development of a puppy's brain and studying my own puppies and seeing them grow and develop each week and what I could expose them to and get them used to, I started to develop this approach to raising a Cavoodle that was really easy to follow, but it would include all these little things to do during the day that is going to shape your Cavoodle into a really calm, relaxed, well-behaved dog who can regulate their emotions, who doesn't suffer from anxiety, who doesn't have overexcitement, who can control their impulses. And these are the things that make a Cavoodle easy and stops them from being really hard. And when I reflect now back on Oscar and what we did with him versus what I do with my puppies, it's clear as day why Oscar had anxiety. It's clear as day why we couldn't take him on a walk without him yanking on the lead. It's clear as day why, he destroyed curtains on the fireworks at New Year's Eve because of that anxiety. I know why he did it. I know why dogs think that way and why they, succumb to those behaviors because of that adrenaline rush they get when they're anxious. All these things have shaped how I raise Cavoodles today. And when I got Nessie, as I was learning this, I was still very much in the process of doing it. I hadn't yet had my first litter of Cavoodles, obviously because she was the mum of the first litter. So when she was a puppy, I sort of subconsciously, not fully aware of what I was doing, but I raised her in a way that made her so relaxed, so in control of her emotions, that taking her or doing anything with her as an adult dog, even as a puppy, she was so easy. It's just so easy. I know that without a doubt, I can leave the house and I can take her with me and it does not cause me a single bit of stress. Or I can leave her at home and I know she is completely 100,000% okay and she sleeps on the bed and she's relaxed and calm. And what I was doing with Nessie at that young age was all of the proper socialization, but not just the socialization when you go out and the dog meets all these different people and other animals. That's not what the socialization should be for Cavoodles. It was socialization where she was, observing things, learning how to control her impulses, learning to be able to view the world without expecting to have every person stop and say hello to her. And all these things that, just shaped her into the most well-rounded, well-balanced Cavoodle. And now that I'm about to get my next Cavoodle, I am honestly just so excited and I feel so calm and relaxed and just confident because I very much know exactly what I need to do each day with this puppy so that she or he does turn out like Nessie, so that she is really easy to have in my lifestyle, easy to keep at home, easy to take out with me, and doesn't cause me any extra stress or anxiety. And the puppy also doesn't experience anxiety itself. I'm so excited. And I think what the point of this episode was, I wanted to explain to you how I've had the Cavoodle where you just do your basic training with them and you're not aware of how important it is to actually shape their behavior. And then I've had a Cavoodle where I have done the actual proper training that a Cavoodle needs. And the differences between these dogs are night and day. And that's why I do what I do, because when families are getting a dog for the first time, if you don't, spend a lot of time around dogs and Cavoodles and stuff, and you Google how to train a Cavoodle, it comes up with just your basic, your sit, your stay, your down, your puppy school. And it's not enough to give a family what they need. Because when you're looking at a dog, you always have to look at their breed and what they're predisposed to. And something like a working dog breed, such as your Border Collie, your Kelpie, they are a completely different breed. They think completely different to Cavoodles, and they're not prone to anxiety. They already have that confidence to approach things, and you have to deal with things like boredom, which is a bigger issue for these working breeds. But for Cavoodles, for them, they're predisposed to anxiety. They're predisposed to being very unsure of themselves, very scared if they're away from their humans, and not confident to go out in the world without having a fear response. And when a dog has a fear response, they have their fight, flight, or freeze response. And depending on your puppy, if they have a fighting response, obviously that can be really bad. If they have a flight response, that can be really hard too, because if you have a child holding the lead of a dog and the dog just runs suddenly, it's very easy to let go of that lead. And if your dog has a freeze response, that's also horrible, because in those situations there, really at the end of the day, we never want them to feel that stress and fear where they have to have one of those three responses. But Cavoodles are prone to that. Cavoodles are prone to not being very sure of themselves, and therefore the training we have to do when they're puppies has to address this issue and build them up with confidence, rather than just focusing on teaching them a few, tricks that aren't actually going to tell them how to behave and react and feel in these situations. Because we have to teach our Cavoodle that when they leave the house, they can feel happy and relaxed. They don't have to leave the house and feel stressed and anxious and therefore start barking, crying, digging, peeing everywhere, pulling on the lead, all of those things we don't want to see. And I think the only reason why my approach has turned into this is because if you want to create a training approach specialized to a certain breed, you have to spend a lot of time focusing on that breed and studying that breed. And I think because I did the vet clinic, the grooming salon, the training organization, and then the breeding, and I've literally spent almost a decade now studying Cavoodles and developing my approach, it just means that my training method is so focused on a Cavoodle. And that is really, really important, because if you don't do the things you need to do for a Cavoodle, you fall into that trap of having those behavioral issues, like Oscar, who had that separation anxiety, that anxiety over every single noise you could possibly think of, and how it really does add an extra level of difficulty and restriction to a family's lifestyle. And that's why I continue to do what I'm doing, because now that I know all this, and now that I know that it only has to be a few simple trainings, a few simple exposures each day when they're a puppy that can, build that confidence in a Cavoodle so they don't experience that anxiety. Now I know that. I want to tell everyone. I want everyone to know, because I don't want to see Cavoodles feeling anxious. I don't want people to be restricted by their dogs. I don't want their Cavoodles to have behavioral issues and separation anxiety. I don't want to see that. I want to see everyone happy and in love with their dogs, just like I am with Nessie, because she's just the easiest thing I could ever dream of. I could have, if someone asked me what's your dream dog and I had to explain it to you, that would be her. And it didn't take a lot to get her to what she is today. It just took a few simple tweaks and understanding what she is predisposed to and stepping in before any of those behavioral issues start to form. So with all that said, I am getting this new puppy and I'm very excited. And with this new puppy, my plan is to film and record every single day with that puppy for that first month. And I'm making it into a daily Cavoodle planner that you will be able to purchase and follow with your own Cavoodles if you are interested. And it'll just show you exactly what I do with my puppies so that they are raised to not have anxiety and to be very calm, confident, loyal, loving, well-behaved little dogs. And I'm so excited. So if you are getting a Cavoodle this year and you love my approach, just like I love it, then make sure you reach out to me, hello@oodleway.co, or send me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is @oodleway. And just let me know when you're getting your puppy, and then I'll be able to let you know when you'll be able to get this planner and if it lines up. I'm hoping the planner will come out at the end of October, early November, and I'm really excited. And if you are getting a puppy in September, you are welcome to join me on my exclusive group coaching program, and you can literally raise your puppy alongside me and my new puppy. I'm working in a very small, intimate setting with up to 10 families, and we're going to train our puppies every day following the same schedule, which is going to be really fun and really a very exclusive opportunity, because it's not every day that I keep a puppy. Okay, so that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you a bit of an insight onto how I got to where I am today and why I do what I do. It's really important to me because everyone deserves a Nessie, and that's what I want everyone to have. I will see you next week in the next episode. This has been your Cavoodle coach, Tiana Karamayas. See you later.